Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World Hammond Collection review. Today we take a look at the new Sinoceratops. It's been a hot minute since we got any of these mid-sized figures. I feel like everything that's come out this year have either been large figures or small figures. Really haven't had any mid-sized figures, so it's nice to see one near the end of the year. I ended up getting this figure from Target, retails for $24.99. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to pick one up for yourself. And let's just go over the packaging really quick. We got the new TrueFX branding that we've been seeing since the Spinosaurus wave. Some nice artwork of the Sinoceratops on the front. Got a window box display of the Sino. This is my biggest complaint about this box style. You only see like maybe 30% of the figure. Can't really see the rest of it in the box. Minor complaint, even because, I do open my figures. On the side of the box, we get a little blurb of the Sino, a broken horned Sinoceratops creeps up on a paralyzed own Grady. It bends down to his face with a tongue full of mucus dripping saliva, then stomps the ground and turns away as burning lava approaches. Don't acknowledge the scene of the kick-ass fight between the Carnotaurus and Sinoceratops. A few minutes later in this film, let's talk about Owen acting like a cartoon character after being tranquilized. So anyways, back of the box, you get some nice pictures of the action feature, TrueFX, premium details, and enhanced realism. So yeah, let's get this figure open and take a closer look. I really want to check out those extra parts included with this figure. And here is the Sinoceratops out of the packaging. I have a few problems with this toy. Some is from a design stance and some is from quality control. We'll get to that momentarily. From a toy standpoint, I think this is an excellent figure. Great articulation, good accessories for the most part, and good paint apps. It's a really fun toy to play around with. As far as the design, I don't like the design of the Sinoceratops, the Jurassic World style, with those open fenestras. No ceratopsians had that. Those are muscle attachment points. They would not have those huge holes. It's just a very fat, frumpy looking animal, not what I picture a ceratopsian to look like. And for a quality control standpoint, when we spin the figure around, yeah, it's missing like most of the paint apps on the spikes on the right side of the figure. So I'll be returning this eventually and getting a new one because that's going to bug the living crap out of me. The accessories it comes with, love the interchangeable horn. That is a great idea. You can have multiple figures, have some variation amongst your little herd of Sinoceratops. This articulated mouth thing that they're trying to do, I felt like they could have just included an articulated mouth, but I felt like they really wanted to include the tongue sticking out just to recreate that one stupid scene from Fallen Kingdom, and it's a pain in the butt to switch the mouth in and out. I get like pry it open and clip it back in, just kind of a hassle. Just give me an articulated jaw. This is just extra steps. Not a fan of it. For measurements, this figure is 11 inches long from the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail, just under 28 centimeters, and 5 inches to the top of the frill at 12.7 centimeters. So there's two size estimates for Sinoceratops. The real life animal was 20 feet long, around 6 meters. So I'll put this figure in the 122 scale range. However, this animal is upsized, like most dinosaurs in the Jurassic franchise. So the one that appeared in Fallen Kingdom was around 26.5 feet long, or 8.1 meters. So I'll put this figure closer to the 129 scale range. Now, that's not really close for the 118 scale that the Hammond collection tries to be in. Yes, I understand there are some constraints, with the size of the figures and the package and blah, blah, blah. They have to adhere to a certain size because there's only a certain amount of space on retailers' shelves. But I'll get into why the scale bothers me a little bit later on during comparisons. Now let's take a look at some of the finer details on this figure. Like I said, I do not like the design of the Sinoceratops, but from a toy and action figure standpoint, this is a really good figure. There's a lot of stuff to like on it. So starting with the head, you can see the eyes painted red with a black pupil. Mattel has now gone back to painted eyes versus giving everything glass eyes. You've been watching reviews on this channel. I am not a fan of the glass eyes. They just never looked right from certain angles. But it also presents a problem. The first, few waves of Hammond collection all had painted eyes, and then we switched to glass eyes. Now we're going back to painted eyes, and it just does not flow for the whole look of the line. So I hope Mattel, picks a lane and decides to stick with one or the other. And for me personally, I hope it's the painted eyes. I just think they look better. Going to the frill, you got the hole in the fenestra. We have some nice white paint apps and orange paint, and those horns on the top of the frill and on the cheek, those are actually rubber insert spikes, and they look really, really cool. I wish it was like that for the rest of the figure, and then I wouldn't have a Sinoceratops without half of it being painted. But yeah, just the details on the head are really cool. Love the interchangeable horn. You have a broken horn and a full horn, and you can see it. Bone color goes into that dark black paint. Beak is painted nicely. Just the head sculpt is just really nice. A lot of detail and character on it. Just looks like an old man to me. Going down to the front legs, big, fat, heavy-looking front legs. The hand claws are painted in a light brown color. Going to the body, nice pebbly skin. You have some nice tan striping along the back that goes down about the halfway point of the tail, and a little speckling of orange paint. Hind legs, toe claws are painted in that light brown paint, and we already covered the paint apps on the tail. You have a nice cream coat for the underside of the belly. So all around, this looks like the movie Sinoceratops, and it's a really cool looking toy. Moving on with articulation, head can rotate side to side. It can look down that far, go back that far. We already covered that the mouth is not articulated. It's interchangeable parts. Going down to the front legs, they can move backwards and forwards, and they are on like a slight hinge joint, and front arms can swing out about that far. Now, one thing about my figure, at least my copy, the joints in the elbows and the knees are incredibly tight enough where I feel like I'm gonna break this figure. I actually had to heat them up with hot water just to get them loose enough to do the articulation in this review. So the front leg, I gotta put a lot of force to bend that elbow. It can bend that forward that far. You get some nice wrist rotation, and the front feet can swivel side to side. Back legs can move backwards and forward. Same thing with the hind legs. They can pivot in and out, which adds to posability. The knee, let's hope I don't break it on this. It can extend that far, and it can collapse back about that far. I mean, I'm putting a ton of force on here, and my hand kind of grips around here, so I just feel like I'm going to eventually snap this playing around with this figure. Hopefully it breaks in. And for the hind feet, same thing on this one. It is incredibly tight. They can move forward that far, back that far, and they can go side to side. Tail, we have a rubber tail here that has not much side to side movement, and just a little bit of downwards movement and a little bit upwards movement. It's like a jointed mechanism in here, and you can hear it pop when you want to bend the tail up and side to side. You can feel like there's a couple of joints. They're very similar to the old Hammond Collection T-Rex tail. There's some kind of joint system in here, so that adds some posability. So yeah, I like the articulation on it. Just wish it wasn't so damn tight on mine, because I'm really scared I'm going to break this thing. Moving on with comparisons, here it is with Owen Grady. Next up, here it is with some of the mainline Sinoceratops that we've got over the years. We have the green and the gray version. I believe the gray one was from Camp Cretaceous. Now, these mainline figures are actually bigger than the Hammond Collection one. I much prefer if the Hammond Collection one was closer to this size scale, so it would just look better display and more proportional, for how big they made it in the movies. Is with the Hammond Collection Carnotaurus, and this is kind of the reason I've been talking about the size and scale about this figure a little more than I should. In the movie in Fallen Kingdom, the Sinoceratops and Carnotaurus had a pretty nice fight scene, and the Sinoceratops was pretty damn close to Triceratops size, and it just looks absolutely puny compared to the Carnotaurus, and it just bugs me because I like to recreate scenes from the movie, and it just looks off. I kind of wish the Sinoceratops was kind of reserved for the next size up, scale in this Hammond Collection line. I think it would have been much better. But hey, it is what it is. Mattel, they do not like giving ceratopsians their right proportions. Next is a 1/18 scale Sinoceratops. This is from Creative Beast Studios, part of their Beast of the Mesozoic line, and you can just see the size difference between this Sino, which I said, it's 122 to 129, depending between real life and movie proportions you want to go with. And look how much better the Carnotaurus, let's just move the Sino back just a little bit, looks compared to the BOTM Sinoceratops scales. Much, much better, and I kind of wish the Mattel Sino was not as big as this one. Didn't need that to be as big, but just close to this size would have made me very happy. Next up are the only other two ceratopsians that we have in the Hammond Collection, the baby Triceratops and the adult Triceratops from the first Jurassic Park. when the Jurassic Park trike came out, boy, did I roast Mattel for not giving an articulated jaw. It was the first figure in the line not to have an articulated jaw. And now I'm complaining about the, interchangeable jaw gimmick on the Sinoceratops. However, I feel like the Hammond Collection trike would have greatly benefited from that swappable jaw gimmick, especially to recreate that scene in the movie with the mouth open and the tongue hanging out. I think that would be, what this figure really, really needed. For the Sino, it did not need interchangeable jaws. Just, opening the mouth with extra steps. It's just really bugging me. And lastly, here it is with its wave mates, the previously reviewed Musaurus, and I'm currently working on the review for the Ornitholestes. So as far as this wave goes, as toy standpoints, really, really enjoying this round of Hammond Collection figures. I just wish the releases were much more frequent. I feel like that is the future of this line. Just the mainline stuff currently is just not doing for me. You can tell by this channel I have barely reviewed any mainline stuff in the last year. I think the only mainline figure I have on pre-order is that rubber Triceratops is coming out at Target, I think in like another month or so. Just the mainline. Not doing it for me anymore. Just give me more Hammond Collection and I'll be a very happy reviewer. Final thoughts on the Hammond Collection Sinoceratops. My criticism about the actual design of how this animal appeared in the films aside, I think this is a great toy. It encompasses everything that we want from the Hammond Collection. Highly accurate, movie accurate, articulated dinosaurs that are well painted, and this thing checks off all the boxes. Besides the quality control issue of half the horns not being painted on one side of the frill on my copy, I really like this figure. Love the interchangeable horn. I think that's a great idea. I'd love to see that more in the line. Not a fan of the interchangeable jaw. I just feel like they just shoehorn that in just so you can recreate that one stupid scene in Fallen Kingdom where just a normal articulated jaw would have been enough for this figure. So other than that, I think it's a good figure. Articulation is a little tight on mine, but other than that, I really like this guy, and if this goes on clearance, I'll probably definitely pick up a few more that have a herd of these on my shelf. So like I said, beginning the review, link for this is down below in the description to Target if you want to pick one up for yourself. Just going to review the Ornitholestes. I have a couple other stuff. I still got the saber-tooth tiger from Cyberzoic I got to review. Some stuff from Hollow Good. This month is a very, very busy month for me. It's tough for me to get reviews out, so I'll try to catch up in the next few weeks or so stay tuned for all that. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys for the next one.